Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You don't know my name's Chad, and we take a dive in the world of sports. This is my Week 9 college football prediction and pick video for some Saturday games that are coming up. And last week I went phenomenal. It was glorious. I went 2 and 2. I highly doubt I'll repeat that feat again, so I have to relish in it for a little bit. All right, let's bring it down back to earth. Let's start this off with some action from the ACC teams, and we'll go ahead and North Carolina visiting Notre Dame. That's right. Notre Dame's actions have taken on some ACC squads, so they play host to the 4-3 Tar Heels. Now, North Carolina's one of those tricky teams that they've kind of underperformed a lot of games, and they've won some quality games, so it's hard to figure out who's going to show up. But for Notre Dame, there's definitely one of those that they faced this type of offense before. Last week against USC, they shut the door on the Trojans. I foresee them to do it again against the Tar Heels. Notre Dame's going to come out and be able to do the exact same thing. Probably actually have a couple quarterbacks who win again, which tends to be their MO this season. And the Irish will continue winning. Then another ACC team, Virginia, 6-2 Cavaliers. I had to have to head out to Provo to take on future Big 12 member number 25 BYU. Now this one should be in the range of the matchup because BYU is actually trying to rebound from their little misstep against Baylor. And the Virginia quarterback Brennan Armstrong, who's been very good, has over 3,000 yards passing, 23 touchdowns. Should be able to pass against this Cougar defense, and then the Cougar running attack led by Algier, who has 866 yards so far and 11 touchdowns, should be the equalizer. This should be a really good matchup between these two. I think these defenses are pretty similar in stature, but I will give a slight edge to BYU to knock off Virginia in this one. But I would not be surprised if it went the other direction. And the final ACC matchup I'm going to look at is 17 Pitt playing host to Miami. Now Miami did end up winning last week, so get them back to the winning side and try and look to continue this and go against another highly successful team right now in Pitt. I don't think this is going to be the case. Right now, the Lions, Pitt's got a 9.5. I can see them covering that. I can think they're going to at least win by 10. There's just too much Pitt offense to really worry about. Kenny Pickett is doing quite well. He's over 2,200 yards passing with 23 touchdowns. And it's going to be enough to knock off Miami. All right, now we're going to head up to Big Ten country. There's some 3 games here that should be really interesting. And I'll start it off with number 9 Iowa going into the 4-3 Wisconsin. Wisconsin just came off of grounding the Boilermakers. So the Boilermakers caught the Hawkeyes with their pants down. So now these two have to go at it in their rivalry game, and it's just one of those things. If Iowa can rectify their ship that they did, so they don't have the same performance they did against Purdue, they're going to be a very, very tough out for Wisconsin. But Wisconsin's also very capable of being that elite school, that elite program to really take it to the next level and maybe shock some people. I don't see this as the case. I see the Hawkeyes getting back on track, ensuring that they keep going in the right direction to ensure they take the Big Ten West to make their trip to Indianapolis. Because right now they're 3-1 in conference play. They're still in the lead in the West, and beating Wisconsin will surely push them a little further along. And then we'll go over to Columbus, where the 5th-ranked Buckeyes will host number 20 Penn State for a big clash in Columbus. And unfortunately, Penn State has fallen back, and they got caught in the trap game against the Illini and lost in overtime. But C.J. Stroud has all of a sudden become electric. Henderson in the backfield has become electric. This Buckeye offense has been on fire after a loss against Oregon. Now, note, it hasn't been the most elite programs they've been knocking off. So the numbers might be slightly inflated, and Penn State will challenge them. It should be a dandy. Right now, Ohio State's favored by 18.5. It's going to be a lot closer. You can probably take Penn State for the points, but the winner for this game will be Ohio State, and I'm sure their matchups later on this year against Michigan State will have huge ramifications of who's going to go to Indianapolis for the Big Ten title. And speaking of Michigan and Michigan State, the Battle of Michigan, that's right. Number 8, Sparty, hosts number 6, Wolverines, in a clash of see who's going to be pretty much leading the charge of that Big Ten East. Yes, I said leading the charge. I think these teams are slightly better right now than Ohio State. But they've yet to face each other. So, and this one's always seems to be a really good one. This is time frame this Harbaugh beat Michigan State, so make sure he goes to the game against Ohio State and become, get over that hurdle of not being able to beat Ohio State. Harbaugh can't look forward to that matchup. He has to take care of Sparty right now, because whoever wins that, their game against Ohio State should be for the Big Ten East, and find out who goes to Indianapolis. And Michigan State has some offensive weapons, and Michigan's got some defensive stars. This, I think, can go either way, really. Right now, Michigan's favored by 4. I think it's going to be closer than that. And I'm probably going to give the edge to Michigan State. There's just a lot of history between these two when it comes to these type of games. Things like first time since like 1940 something that both teams were ranked in the top 10. So it's a huge matchup. This is basically what you look forward to. Your in-state rival. I can see this game going either way, but I'm going to give it to Michigan State. Now we're off to the SEC country, and we'll start off with probably one of the biggest clashes in SEC. That's right. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, the battle for the Ore, the clash at the Swamp. That's right, Florida and Georgia in Jacksonville. This should be an entertaining game. However, Georgia right now is very dominant on both sides of the ball. Florida tends to struggle against really good teams, even though they did come back against Alabama. I don't see this as the case of this one. I think Georgia's going to be way too much. Like I said, they're the number one team in the country. I said that way before anyone else. And I think Georgia's going to just wreck them. It's just not going to be fun for to be a Gator fan. And another one's a key matchup in the SEC West. That's number 10, Ole Miss, visiting number 18, Auburn. Now, both of these schools have one loss in SEC, as well as Alabama. But Alabama's in the lead because Alabama beat Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss needs to beat Auburn and have Alabama lose to take the West title. Auburn doesn't have to do that. If they win this one and beat Alabama, then they'll knock off, then they'll go to the SEC title game. So this has already had some high implications for end of the year matchups. And so it should be really entertaining. Because Matt Corral is a phenomenal quarterback. So is Mixon. I mean, you got these two quarterbacks clashing against each other. It's going to be really good. And like I said, really good matchup between these two. And I'm going to give the edge to the Tigers knocking off the Rebels on Saturday. And then another matchup also has other implications as well. Is number 12 Kentucky visiting Mississippi State. If Kentucky loses this game and Georgia wins theirs, Georgia is automatically locked to Atlanta for SEC title game. So there's a lot of this riding on there. Mississippi State already has 2 losses in conference. I don't think they'll have a shot really in the West, but they need to win this one to kind of put the pressure on the top 3. Right now, it's pretty much even across, for right now, the time of this video for who's going to win this one, and I kind of agree with that. How, but I will give the edge to the Kentucky defense. They have stepped up, but they will be tested. This is a very prolific offense led by Will Rogers, who has over 2,500 yards and 18 touchdowns. But it should be, the running attack of Rodriguez to help Kentucky's offense, as well as the defense can stay, be healthy and be aggressive. I would say Kentucky barely escapes Starkville with the W. Now, Big 12, there's only like one game that's really somewhat important, I think. Even though there's I'll take that back. The Big 12 has a lot of games that are quietly up there. I mean, Iowa State and West Virginia could be a very good matchup. Because West Virginia could do an upset. Texas Tech and Oklahoma should be interesting. Texas Tech just fired their head coach, so the new direction for that school. Now I have to go against Oklahoma, who kind of, could go either way. But the one I went after is Texas and Baylor. With this one, Texas is just one of those teams that are hard to kind of pinpoint exactly how they are, because they've gone up against Oklahoma State, and we're leading both these schools and just coughing up at the end. I mean, this seems to be their MO right now, and they don't need that. They need to be able to finish games. But Baylor is one of these pesky teams that, you can't give an inch because they will take a mile, and this is going to be the same thing. I think the Longhorns probably be competitive in the beginning, but some key miscues, some mistakes will allow Baylor to excel and then proceed on to knock off the Longhorns. And then staying in Texas, we'll have an American showdown between undefeated SMU and the 601 Houston. Both these schools are undefeated in conference play, along with Cincinnati. So they need this one to keep on pace with Cincinnati. And right now, the line for this one's also even. But, it seems like the focus right now is on SMU because they're undefeated and ranked. Mordecai has over 2,300 yards and 29 touchdowns. But I foresee the University of Houston surprising SMU and beating them at home. And then out west, in the Mount West, you'll have the 21st ranked San Diego State Aztecs hosting the 6-2 Fresno State Bulldogs. This is going to be a key matchup in that West Division. Right now, of course, San Diego State is undefeated right now, conference play, but nipping at their heels are those pesky Bulldogs. I think both these schools have also done some very upsetting the Pac-12. Of course, I think anyone can really do that nowadays anyhow. So it'll be really, really fun to see this one. Jake Hayner from Fresno State has over 2,500 yards and 22 touchdowns, while Greg Bell has led the San Diego State rushing attack with over 600 yards and 5 TDs. San Diego State has been struggling these past couple weeks. They had to go to double overtime to knock off the Spartans. They struggled against Air Force, but they end up coming out on top in the end. I believe it's going to be the exact same format in this game. Is Fresno State is going to take it to San Diego State. San Diego State's going to find a way, remain undefeated, and maybe have a sniff at a New Year's Six bid, because I doubt to get that far up to get to a playoff bid. Well, there are my picks. Like I said, last week we went 10-2. I'm not going to do that again. It's not going to happen. Nothing is a freak of nature. But we're looking forward to this weekend. Like I said, there's a couple of games in the Big 12 that I was looking at to possibly cover, because they have some interesting storylines. But I don't see, I didn't do that. But for my bonus ones, like the Iowa State West Virginia, I can see West Virginia doing an upset. And for Texas Tech and Oklahoma, it's going to be Oklahoma. Caleb Williams right now leading the charge. Should you just fine. I think their struggles against Kansas was just Kansas trying to be, knock off the big dog and just fell short. Texas Tech, I think right now is a little bit in shambles. So I think Oklahoma should be able to get past Tech. But those are my bonus games. So those are not going to count for my 12-game picks. So just give you guys a little extra, little cherry on top there. But let's see if I can have a decent week this week. Maybe an 8-4. I mean, I'm good with that one. Well, let me know what you think. Which game you're looking forward to? Which pick do you think I'm the most out in left field on? My Michigan State victory, my Auburn victory. I mean, those are some stretches possibly. You never know. But hey, just leave a comment. Let me know while you're there. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me. Give me a like. While you're there, you can also subscribe. Once you subscribe, you hit that bell notification. Let you know next time I post a video. Now, for all those kiddos out there, be safe this Halloween weekend. Be safe. Enjoy your time. And I'll see you on Monday with my recap video for this week. And I'll see you then on Chat Sports Talk.